doctor who live in Taiwan and go over to mainland China and provide their medical service and come back. So this is reason why the Sunflower Movement need to blockade about the service trade agreement, because both sides need to report to the government. And for those people keep on saying, I'm loving Taiwan, but earning money from mainland, so which they will be totally exposed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you ask about the political colors, then you might get the two different answers, the blue or green, right? But if you ask a straight question, what's your color? Of course, green. Money, color of money, right? So this is my answer to my friends from Philippines. I must remind you, all the Chinese is very sophisticated. My mother is actually from Manchuria. My mother's surname is He Su-Li. So we all come from very complicated. Everyone can be American, but also everyone can be the Chinese. The Chinese, there's more than 56 different races group. So to be proud as a Chinese is not because your ethnic background, you know, it's not any kind of genie background, okay? It's just the culture that you admire, the culture you accept and recognize. Now, regarding about the military, there's no conclusive answers to your question. Whether Libya is 20 years behind or something, you are not fighting with something which the 20 years later you will come and fight with us, you know? But however, the leading technology owned by the US military, that's something undeniable. But there are many factors as a fighting war. In 1939 or in 1937, when the Japanese warlord who come and invade China, they are saying that we are going to smash the China within 3 months. 8 years later, they being defeated. There's a lot of miracle, might not be necessary. You own the leading technology. If by that standards, the Korean peninsula, there's no stalemate. You got 38 degrees to parallel still exists today. There's U.S. will be defeated and withdraw from Vietnam, right? So technology is one of the factors. But the matter is that you are not going to be defeated is the criteria. It's not going to defeat others. As long as we may remain survival and keep our survival in Taiwan, we actually is going to defeat the socialism. Just thinking about in the past 40 years, we have sending our, to retaking the mainland forces, the Taiwanese businessmen go to the mainland China. 我们已经反攻大陆40年. We have totally changed the mainland society. People ask, the tyrant will be die, tyrant will be die. 暴政必亡，暴政必亡。为何暴政还没亡？暴政早就被亡了。Now, we have changed in a certain degree. But however, we should keep on telling us that we should never too overpride about Taiwan's so-called democracy and also the freedom. Please allow me to remind you, there is only one letter different from democracy to demon crazy. What do you have to see Hong Kong about those young men? They are not a democracy. They are really the F words, the demon crazy. This is exactly one of the reasons why the China mainland they got strong reluctance about marching into the democracy. We should blame ourselves. If we in Taiwan, we promote the democracy, make us pursuing unification more enthusiastically. They are going to more enthusiastically goes to the democracy. If we go to the democracy and it goes to the concession and walk away from China, they got a strong reluctance to promote democracy. So who is going to blame? Us in Taiwan and also the people in Hong Kong. We should do a better, high-quality example to those people, who live in mainland China. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the moral cost to those 1.4 billion our compatriots. We are not only to serve the 23 million people in Taiwan or another 7 million in Hong Kong. We do have the Well, one point of moral, well, course, and there's a moral obligation toward those our people, our compatriots. The one point for our own people live in mainland China, and also 50 million people overseas Chinese. My last point is to the promising young man about you mentioned about you study about international relations in Taiwan. I would like to remind you, it's called international relations with the S. If you have a relation with some girls, you got trouble. You would rather study about international affairs, not study international affair in Taiwan. Okay, if you do need a wife, following your example, made in Taiwan, yeah, you will have the chance. Welcome back and bring your money, come back to Taiwan and study in Taiwan. Thank you.
Do we have more questions out there?
Hi, this is John Wu from Los Angeles. First of all, thank you so much for the great speech. I have a question for Dr. Hickey. How do you define the one country, two system in Hong Kong? Because we, from the riots that we see, the most people there, they are on protest. They are actually really young, and most of them, you can see they were born before 1997. So, will you define that mainland China government is actually faithfully to, for their promise as a one country, two system? Because look at the education, that what brings those young people, they are kind of against Chinese or China words. The second question is, you just mentioned about Macau, which is also the special district that returned to China in 1999. But look at the one country, two system in Macau. The GDP there, it has increased dramatically to 65,000. In Hong Kong, it still remain in 45,000 something. So what makes these two districts so different, even though Macau returned to China 2 years after Hong Kong? Also, I have questions for Dr. Zhang and Professor Chen. That we know that there's a law that we call the Cross-Strait People's Relations Ordinance that has been amended in June 2019. That is limiting the power for people or legislator that to move to have a dialogue, especially the political talks to China. That means any agreements to be signed with mainland China that has to be approved by the majority members in Congress. So which means they will have more, they will be more difficult to initiate conversations, even Han Kuo-yu become the president next January. So how you think that since the DPP has built up a firewall, trying to stop the further steps that may be taken by the KMT if they become the ruling party in the future, and how they can initiate a talk to mainland China? Thank you.
I have a couple questions, to the two panelists on the one country, two system. Okay, the first one is about Hong Kong system. Okay, when you make the presentation, I'm not sure your attitude toward it. It sounds like you feel that the one country, two system was forced onto the people in Hong Kong. Okay, but I saw that was a good thing because they never had democracy before. Okay, and